Okay, so I think we're on to the new feed now. Okay, y'all come on over to the new feed. All right, let's get beautiful, beautiful. Let's get everybody in here. Hope, are you in?
Yo, I had a taste for one of these at work today. I don't know the last time I had a Three Musketeers bar.
Hope you so old. All right. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk, but you guys are more than free to throw in some questions that you may have. So our goal tonight is to be a beacon of hope and wisdom for those that are in our generation, what have you. I'm sure we will have some of our senior married folks come on and help us out.
Please
but
help us.
Every
They
December,
might be asleep though.
it's late. Okay, well, every December, make sure y'all tag and share. Get some people in here, what have you. And so every December is our anniversary. Those of y'all that was there, we were just talking about the reception piece. I think everybody enjoyed the reception better than they did the wedding, only because we had everything on the God and man as far as food was concerned in his house. So we got married, December 23rd? See, you don't even know when we got married.
You seemed like you was a little...
No, I know when I got married. And we've been married now for 12 years. And we've been dating, what?
Almost 20.
What? I ain't that old to be dating nobody no 20 years. What you talking about? Ever since she was 13 and I was 5. And so...
Next year will be 20 years.
So anyway... We've been friends, so all this jazz, whatever. And so what we started doing about 3 years ago is going live and just talking about marriage, right? Talking about what we've learned and some things that we've practiced, what have you, that will help us navigate this thing called marriage, because we intend to be married until she dies, like the good Bible said, like the good vow said, to death do us part. And so Hope has agreed to leave us first.
I just had to argue with you tonight.
What? She already helped me write the sermon for her service. What's the sermon title?
That's not true. I did not help you write
What's the sermon?
I did not help you write
What's the name of the sermon?
Y'all, Pastor McCants has this really bad habit. He got a sermon title for everybody's funeral but his.
Well, I'm going to preach my own service. I'm going to show y'all my service.
Oh my God.
All right.
He really does. He has a sermon title for
What is your service? What's the title of your sermon?
There will always be hope.
All right, then. And you have helped me author this message.
I don't know why he
with the guidance of the Holy Spirit.
God's ambassador.
And we're going to really enjoy heaven together. All right. So, okay. So, of course, like I said before, you're more than welcome to submit your, I was going to say sermon request, but I'm sure you won't want me to preach yours.
I'm on this pillow, but I am going to leave. Okay. Yes, I'm at home on my couch.
Yeah, we're in the talk room in our house. So, well, it's my talk room. You're just a visitor that's trying to take it over. Anyway, so let's talk about it. We've been married 12 years. What is something that you've learned in these past 12 years of marriage? Or even our whole relationship? What's some things?
I guess learning. I'm still in the process of learning when to be silent and when to speak.
When to be silent.
Every action doesn't deserve a reaction. action doesn't do. Every word doesn't deserve a response. It's not warranted or needed, and it may not be in that moment.
But we live in a culture. Our generation, we're infamous for, I think, what they call it. I do it right? The clap back.
I don't think there's not a sound.
It's not a sound for it. Oh, I don't know.
You like we infamous for it, and I'm like, what is that?
I don't know. So.
Lord, somebody help.
But we are infamous for clapbacks, being petty, making sure that we win, or what have you. In some instances, and then there's that flip side where someone has been so beaten by life, beaten by circumstances, that it's a commonplace to take abuse, right? Or abuse, harsh words, harsh treatment, what have you. And so there's this weird dynamic, if you're not calling me out my name, then you don't love me, Or there's this weird dynamic of if I don't hit you where I know it hurts you, then we're not arguing.
I was just having that conversation today with one of my daughters, and I was telling her that the kids in school, when we were in school and we were growing up, you and the person might throw insults. That's why you ain't got no edges. That's why, we would throw those insults, whatever. But, if you...
I'm sorry, go ahead. You're trying to teach us something.
If you threw a insult out, like if you said something about somebody's mama, and you found their mom was deceased, it was a no-no.
Yeah.
You apologize for that. Was no. These kids today, there's no boundary line on what's being said. So that goes on what you said.
So it sounds like that in marriage or relationships that there should be
it's become a common thing. I got to get you like you got me.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you said this learning to be silent, when to be silent and when to speak. Now, for me, I've always enjoyed the power of silence, because I guess I'm more solution oriented. I want to get to the bottom of, and so if we have to go through a bunch of yakking, I'm not interested in that. I'm more ready to get to the solution, because I want my marriage over me being right, right? And so I think it's important too that particular principle or that idea. It helps us to better understand each other. That although the argument may stem around the toothpaste top not being on, that there's something deeper going on, and that maybe it's a place of venting. Maybe there's something that's on your mind, and you need a place to lash out. And there's this weird narrative that if I should be able to lash out with you, and you're supposed to be able to take it, maybe, but the truth is, this listening and this quiet talk space that I think you're yin-yanging about, this yin-yang is a mechanism that comes with wisdom and learning each other. You have to actually know each other.
Yeah, you have to know, you can pick up on subtle hints where this might not be the best time to bring up the argument about the toothpaste top. Because I understand and recognize you're already frustrated by something else that's going on.
No, but you want to hear me.
But it's not the time.
Oh. It's not time to be heard. Yeah, I know young people. No. So it's not time to be heard. So okay. So what's something else that you've learned?
No, it's your turn.
Well, I think too. You said something. I'm the moderator. You're the guest.
No. What? I can really leave this.
I like this conversation though about the whole thing about getting to know each other. we replace sex with knowing.
That's true.
And we replace gifts with knowing. Or we have facades. We want them to know. But in a marriage, in a relationship, it's about getting to know the individual. I say this almost every year, maybe. But I think it's probably the best advice my cousin ever gave me. I remember the conversation when he found out I was going to get married. He took me to Ruby Tuesday at the mall, Magnolia Mall. Does Magnolia Mall still have Ruby Tuesday in it? Anyway, we were there, and I had to go check it out. That was one of my spots. And he said to me, if you invest in knowing your wife, you will never get bored with her. You would never have a need for another woman. Because the way God designed a woman, he said that there's many layers to her. And she's forever growing. She's ever becoming. You know, you're out. We often joke about you're not 16 anymore. You know, the 16-year-old Hope just hung on every word Michael said. You know, she would light up when I walked in a room. You know, Hope, let's go jump off a bridge. Okay.
What? I was not that. It wasn't that bad.
But the point. But now you're I don't know if you should tell the world, but not.
Whatever. I'm 32.
Yeah. Oh, honey, that shirt.
Like a boss.
You know that shirt off. You know you 55.
Yeah.
Really got the little hair rents, some little black to hide the little silver strands.
I don't have to hide no gray in my hair. Not yet. We ain't gonna talk about some other people's beards.
Wait a minute, my beard is soft. Anyway, so and if something is in there, it's because you know. So who you were at 16 is not who you are now, right? And me and you were friends. Like we were like talk every day on the phone, friends. Like
talk to the phone die.
And let it sit on the charger for about 5-10 minutes. Call back and let it die. You remember good time. Now the children post up on the phone with the, you old hoe.
The phone got a charger.
It got a charger. I used to go over, every house had a cord phone, and you just pull it on the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah. You an old boy.
I'm old.
Ooh. So anyway. So, we were friends. We were tight.
Oh, yeah.
But man, when we got married.
Yeah.
I didn't know you like I thought I knew you.
Oh, no.
You know, one thing I didn't know that's safe to talk about probably is
About to tell me in my ear.
They'll tell you first. No, you were so comical. You had a great sense of humor.
I always thought I was funny too, but nobody else seems to think I was funny.
I didn't get it while we were friends. So maybe it was just a marriage thing.
I thought I was funny before.
So because
nobody laughed.
Because that's a fear most people have, right? That when you get married, they change.
Mm-hmm.
You change, but it's not changing. You're learning. You're discovering. You're growing, and so maybe it's changed. Maybe let's call it a metamorphosis. Maybe you're going from a caterpillar to a butterfly, right? It's a part of nature. It's not something that's malicious. Something you should be afraid of. At the core, you're still the same person.
Yeah.
It's just that you've evolved some. Your taste has changed. Your outlook on life. You've had exposure, and so at one time I could just call you 3 times a day, and that was enough. Mm-hmm. Then I remember you was like, when we got married, you was like, just send me some flowers. I was like, some flowers, and I'm like, buy me an iPad, give me something, and you're like, yeah, just send me flowers, and then you grew some more, and it's like, oh. So you went from being this woman that wanted affirmation all the time, whatever, to this person that wanted subtle gifts. You still want subtle gifts, but then you became this whole I'm every woman type girl. well, I'm gonna just do it myself. But what? You know, we done spent 12 years, 10 years with you. You know, now you want to go out by yourself? I remember when you drove to Charlotte for the first time.
I did too.
That scared me half to death.
Really?
Yes, you ain't never drove no highway
I
before.
wasn't alone.
But you ain't never drove. You was the driver.
Not alone, no.
Then you was on. I
Me
mean,
and Jada Marie
you know,
going to Charlotte.
I think y'all was out there. Well, anyway. So that's another conversation to have too. I'll make sure our audience isn't giving us any questions.
Nope.
To talk about. Okay. So there's this other thing that I thought about recently. I thought about this year when it came to being married or even in relationships. I think me and Pastor Jay talked about it a couple times over the course of the year. I am growing increasingly aware that the trust factors or the insecurities in relationships are very strong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, we feel like we have to be present all the time in order to make sure that they stay single. I mean, stay, faithful. They're checking phones and all that. You don't check my phone. And 85% of my life is not around you.
Mm-hmm.
That's horrible, but I mean, it's there. Right? Well, I work, so and my job kind of requires me to be gone a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But what the insecurity is, how do you trust? How do you trust in a relationship?
I think one thing we have to understand and realize is, and my mama said something to me a long time ago, and it really stuck with me. She said, we would save ourselves a lot of frustration when we recognize that people have the right to be who they are. And she was speaking to the fact of we spend so much time trying to control people and keep our hands on people and make people do what we want them to do. But if you realize that people are people and they have the right to do what they want to do, how they want to do it, when they want to do it, you'll save yourself a lot more stress. It'll
also help you better understand if you're compatible or not.
Yeah, and then you learn to, a lot of the insecurities that you put on other people, lots of times are your own insecurities.
Wow.
So, what is it about you that's so insecure, that's got you constantly checking the phone, that's got you constantly, and I ain't arguing, listen, what works in your marriage, do you? What works in your relationship, do you? If y'all, the kind of people you got to check in 5 times, do you? But if that's something that y'all decide to do, but when
as an accountability piece, right?
But when it's based off of, I need to make sure, hold the phone in the room so I can see if anybody else breathing. That's crazy stuff.
People do that?
Yeah, they do this stuff.
Oh. You actually know people for real? Like, this ain't something on TV.
No, for real.
Oh, okay.
Hold the phone in there. So
I feel like I'm outside of the world or something. Am I meant to? Well, yeah, I'm in now.
You in the more of the church world. I'm in on the other side.
You gotta come out from amongst them. So, but I think too, it's good to understand. So I like that insecurities. You cannot expect a marriage or relationship to work with you supposing your insecurities onto someone else, and then use it as a control mechanism to make them be so you can feel secure in your insecurity.
Exactly.
That's
yeah.
Man. Now but they know though that should be a rule of thumb just across the board.
Across the board, yeah. Stuff that irritates you, stuff that gets on your nerves, stuff that can set you off like that. a lot of times, if you check the root of it, you'll find that it's because it taps on something that you're not secure in.
Or maybe it's from childhood trauma.
Yeah, it taps on an area that's sensitive, and it causes you to react in a certain way. A lot of the stuff that you think are your pet peeves that just make you angry, it's not because it makes you angry. It's because it taps on the insecurity. It taps on a vulnerable place in my life. It exposes something that I don't want to see.
So we're not giving an absolute answer. This is probably just making us aware, right? Yeah. That maybe you're not as easily angry as you think you are, right? There's something deeper going on, right? And so, it'd be good to have some counseling or a therapist or whatever, or to start journaling. Sometimes you don't even need all that. You can just examine yourself. Yeah. You can examine yourself. I was examining I've been doing that a lot lately. As an individual. Lately you've becoming a better wife. So this is good. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm working around older women.
Okay.
With lots of wisdom.
Yeah.
But I've been doing a lot more examining lately. I'm examining stuff that triggers me. Stuff that sets me. Mm-hmm. And one of the things I noticed, because I can't stand when I'm at work and let's say I'm running a register and they start telling me how to bag their stuff. It bothers me.
What?
Or telling me you scanned this more than once, or whatever. That will bother me. And I was like, one day I took the time to examine myself. Why does that bother me so much? Because I feel like it's speaking to my competence as an individual. So now I realize, I don't have to get upset. Oh no, ma'am, I didn't scan that. Now I do get some rude people that just come in just rude for no reason. But everything shouldn't be a trigger point. Because what is it? What is it? Why does that make you so upset? Because they're trying to tell me no, because something in you feels like you're not competent. And so you feel like they're feeding that thought in your mind. And so it triggers you off. So a lot of the stuff that we get upset about, that we flip off real quick, examine where it comes from.
I'm gonna comment into that for a second, because I think sometimes as men we don't fully understand the complexities of a female. Mm-hmm. That some of the things that frustrate us about our spouse or make us feel insecure or maybe less than, it's not necessarily something about you, it's something about them. Mm-hmm. And so you have to be wise enough to recognize and patient enough to give space for her to work through that and be that listening ear.
Because let me tell you the lesson I've learned. Okay. Because you said that, and this is the lesson that I've learned, and I'm still, practicing in my marriage. When your partner or your whatever is frustrated, they don't need your frustrations about their frustrations on top of their frustrations.
I need to let you just be frustrated.
Yeah, I'm there to be a listening ear, but me getting aggravated with you because you frustrated don't help your frustration none. Right.
Yeah. Because okay, I like that. I won't press into that, but that's good. So what about accountability? Because nowadays, you being in a monogamous relationship, married, what have. First of all, now this is a pet peeve of mine. If you're in any type of relationship, your relationship needs to have a destination. It's not okay to be in a relationship, a romantic relationship,
40, 50 years,
and not have a destination. I mean, I could do a whole live on that, and not only show you historically, but also show you biblically why, Anyway, so
That'd be for the singles club.
yeah, I'm gonna help y'all out. Cause some of y'all just y'all being wise when I bring. I'm just
preaching. This is not impact.
I'm just saying, and then you're out here being husbands and you ain't, right here taking on each other anyway. So don't laugh at me, Hope. That's really, because you know something, and I promise I'm gonna move on from it. We don't realize that there's a scripture. Let me tell you that was a scripture I read. There's a scripture I read, and I read it, and I just been meditating on it. I haven't done a whole dissertation on it yet, but it's just something I just like what it says. It says something to the effect, I believe it's in Proverbs or what have you. It says, "Do not awaken love before it's time."
You're so deep.
Yeah. Did you hear me what I say? See, now I'm talking country.
Yeah, you.
Do not awake love before it's time. Once again, I have not done a whole dissertation on it.
Not yet.
Not yet. Oh, but it's coming. It might be my whole February series.
Oh, my Lord.
However, I want to point out, because you can tell, even in marriage, there are some things we put into practice outside of the season that the practice is needed.
That's true. That's true.
And it's more damaging to the relationship than it is an undergird. Because sometimes we work so hard trying, wanting, that we awaken things that we're not ready for. And that's why okay. And so this is for my single folks trying to get married. That's why you shouldn't leave the relationship off with intimacy. Outside of it not being biblical and you're a Christian, the basic principle is you are allowing yourself to be emotionally tied into an individual that you know nothing about.
That's so true.
You don't know them. And you having sex and then learning their favorite color afterwards.
Not the color.
You having sex, but then you don't know what childhood trauma or childhood experience shapes their reality. You want children, but they don't want children. And then you fool up and get pregnant, and then he's shocked. And now you're going through all these, because you're entering into things, you're doing practices before it's time. You could even get married and do things in your marriage that's premature. Just because you're married, just because you married, it doesn't mean that it is that's it. Oh, I'm married now. I'm done now. I'm going. No.
The real work begins.
Right. Getting married is just like getting saved. Jesus is the door. All you did was walk through it. I was married now. You done jumped the broom, broke the glass, did the dance. That's not the end of it. It's actually just beginning.
It is.
Any door, make a notation of this. Any door you walk into is not only an exit door, it is also an entry door.
Yeah. You have to walk.
You're leaving one space to go into another. So when you walk out of singleness, you're walking into marriage. Which, by the way, is an institution. Come on, dictionary. What's this?
I am not a dictionary.
You are the thesaurus.
What?
Tell us, Webster.
Let me get my phone so I can look it up.
No, Webster.
I'm telling you now.
Institution. Pray for Lord, Sister Pratt.
It's something that's established, ain't it? I'll tell you. Go
ahead. Yeah. And so being in love is wonderful, right? But you need other principles there that lead you to a holistic type of love that's not attached to how you feel.
A society or organization founded.
Marriage is a society. Go ahead.
You're gonna preach it.
I like that.
Or organization founded for a religious, educational, social, or
I thought it was word
purpose.
education with me. That's right. It's a whole process, right? And so I'll conclude here without preaching. Now I'm going to go to the part I want to talk about. Or you can take over for be part of moderator, and then we're going to wrap it up. You have to pay attention to what you're practicing. You want to start off getting to know each other, building. A friend is birthed through adversity. You need to go through life experiences, seasons together, right? You need to see what your idea of family and futuristic views, what those things look like. And then when you're in your marriage, now that you're in your marriage, now you need plans. You should have business meetings in your marriage. Mm-hmm. Where you're talking about in this year, this is what we're going to accomplish.
Yeah.
10 years from now, we're going to look like this.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Schedule in date nights. Mm-hmm. Making room for romance. Right? We ain't going 3-4 days and you ain't got no sugar. And you ain't.
Not sugar.
Yeah, we ain't going. And I hadn't said to you, I love you. I don't. Mom. Well, we just fell out of love. No, you didn't fall out. You wasn't intentional.
That's right.
Marriage is intentional.
It is. God knows it's intentional. It does not just fall together.
Some of that was a sweet spot for you. What?
It doesn't, because people think, like you said, once you get married, that's it. And it doesn't just fall in place. It takes work. It's just like building a house. Getting the foundation does not, that's, of course we can celebrate. Of course we can celebrate the foundation, but the house is not built. We still got to put up walls. We still got to put up, I don't know about that stuff. We got to put everything in place.
Plumbing in place, electricity,
all that stuff that make a house a house. You still got to put all that stuff in place. The problem is we want to get married and then just walk into a house that's already made, and it's not, because just like no houses are the same, no marriage is the same. Everything has to be built based on the two people who are building it. So it doesn't just fall together. You have to put it together. You have to ways work.
So there's this discipline then that comes through servanthood or through ministering to one another. I'm in marriage. I'm ministering to you, mm-hmm. and you are ministering to me. Right. And we're not going to let nothing come between our serving of one another. Mm-hmm. I'm going to meet you at your need. You're going to meet me at my need. And we're going to be intentional about it. Now, I think something that we've been good at, our girls are getting older. And we tell that, kids have this way of getting in between your marriage. Mm-hmm. Because you're so busy trying to take care of them, so busy trying to love them, so busy getting caught up in them, mm-hmm. right? Raising them, that you don't have time for us. Mm-hmm. Now, one thing we've done in our marriage from the get-go was establish boundaries for what we had.
For our us time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 9 o'clock, the children had to be in the bed at 9, not going to bed. They're supposed to be in the bed at 9, right? Because from 9 to whenever we decide to go to sleep, that's me and your time. We're going to talk, laugh, whatever. Mm-hmm. Now that the kids are getting older, I hear Dot laughing at us, sneaking off to go eat lunch and stuff together, sneaking off on dates and all this jazz, what have you, because we're trying to spend time with each other. Because we understand that a couple of years from now,
it's just going to be us, baby. Thank you.
You gonna leave me hanging? Well, praise Him first.
Oh,
Lord, give Him the glory.
I was praising Him.
Give Him the glory.
I can't do like you. Shake your head for me.
Shake it.
Yeah, see my Okay, I was like that.
Yeah. So they're gonna be gone.
Yeah, this is us.
And I want to like you when they're gone.
You're right. Absolutely.
I want to like you. I want to spend time with you. I want to be with you.
A lot of marriages don't last after the children leave because you get two people who find out they don't know each other.
They've
outside
grown.
of being parents.
Yeah.
You've grown, he's grown, and y'all love each other.
Yeah. Some things that we do that's very intentional is we don't go a day without hearing how each other's day went.
Mm-hmm. That's very true.
Right? Even if it's
Yep. That says a lot though.
Right?
Mm-hmm. We understand that
Yeah. Yeah.
Today was an day.
Right. And BJ would be there. Go to bed. You got to teach in the morning. And so
She's still trying to speak another child.
Yeah.
Oh, let that demon go.
That spirit go, sir. We've learned to have recreation, not procreation.
Praise Him. Praise Him.
So so we hear each other out every night. We hear about each other's day, and we're investing in each other's day. Now there's something. What's something that's intentional that keeps us connected as we try to grow in our marriage and become.
Put me on the spot. I don't know.
You know, James laughed at us. Something else that we do. We take trips.
Yeah, not as often as we would like. We're getting there. We're trying to. The trips part is we're growing in the trips, but yeah, able to take trips now without children.
Then you better stop saying that about the chilling. Almost like you're saying the rapture coming or something. I don't know.
Yeah, we're able to do things like just us. You know, we're planning for us and what we want to do, and you know, we have not lifted our hands off of our children.
Oh God, no.
They're teenagers. But so our hands are not lifted off of them, but we've also learned how to separate us, the children, and then us, and then individually.
Oh, that's good. The individual piece, right? Because you can't live, breathe, and sleep each other all day. You drive each other crazy.
Y'all heard Will Smith? He say,
"What?"
Will Smith said, "It's not my job to make her happy," and it's true. It's not your spouse's job. Your happiness is not tied into the person that you're with. You have to learn. Yes, they should make you. They should have a hand in it. But if you don't make me happy, I'm not gonna be happy. That's not okay. You're supposed to be able to find your own sense of happiness.
Still have an identity.
You need an identity, ladies. You need an identity. Let me tell you something. Anybody who knows me knows I will my husband you to death.
You will?
Yes, I will. I don't care where I go. Can I pump your gas? Oh no, I got a husband.
Oh, you one of them?
Yep. Ma'am, you are so beautiful. Thank you. My husband tells me that all the time. I'm one of those people. But I also have an identity outside of myself, and it doesn't take away from who I am as Mrs. McCants. But I'm one of them. I want my husband you there. Let me call my husband.
So that's something good to talk about too. And then we gonna let it go.
Yeah, we're gonna let it go.
But let's talk about this for a moment. Keeping doors closed. You know, there's always I always say this in some of my sermons. I talk about relationships. There's always resumes being put in.
Okay.
You don't get resumes. You just told me about the resumes you get.
Yeah, it's not a resume.
That's a resume they put in their request. tell you how fine you is. Then if you open the door, then they gonna want to know how they can take you out, and then you be giggling and playing on. Then he be talking about her husband must be treating her right. I'm gonna help her do what her husband can't do. How do you shut doors? Do you shut inboxes and stuff? Like your inbox be full.
Stop telling people.
How do you shut?
No, it's not brown.
My inbox is like a ghost town. Everybody just won't pray.
For some reason, I seem to attract boys.
I look at something in your spirit.
It's not in my spirit.
It is. I'm from the homeless church. That's what it is. Something in your spirit.
But I don't address it. I don't open it. I don't read it. I don't address it.
You keep the doors closed. Mm-hmm. I just open it, baby, because you know what I mean. We just friends. Nah, you know. Mm-mm. You know that's a resume being.
It is the cut. It's the cut.
Especially that new James, did you in that inbox too?
It's the cut, and the weight loss. It's a lot. It's a lot. I'm telling you.
Did you over here, Lord?
He was asking me about the doors. You said my inbox before. He was saying especially with the cut. Yeah, it's the cut.
Anyway. You can't enter Bishop McDowell used to always say,
harmless can become harmful in a matter of seconds.
Yeah.
And so you always want to keep your guard up.
Well, you're right, because you never allow anyone into spaces that are designated for your spouse.
Exactly. 100%.
Yeah. Even in your places of vulnerability, you have to, old man told me one time, get you a toolbox and some wood and go build something. You know, go wash the car, cut the grass, find some way to burn your energy, your emotions productively, but don't turn to possible doors and use it as a crutch until it gets better. Then you want to go back to your marriage, right? But you have to. I think that's where that third wheel comes in. Why God is so important in marriage, right? We have to know how to take it to the Lord in prayer, right? Because prayer is a powerful force, and if you have to medicate issues in your marriage with outside individuals, then you're not necessarily medicating. You're more so what hindering, digging a bigger hole than what it needs to be, right? Because above all else, you have to be able to talk, and you can't just talk about surface things. You need to be able to talk about deep things.
Oh yeah.
You need to be able to say, let's plan a day. I think we really need to talk, right? And I used to teach this in conflict resolution, conflict management. You don't go into the fire unprepared. You go into the fire with an objective, with a plan to put the fire out, right? So when I want to talk to you about something that's serious that could possibly hurt your feelings, right? That could possibly lead into an argument.
We love you too.
Love you too, Jay. Love you too. Yeah. You want to go in. You want to prepare you can't go in there mad. Can't go in there in your feelings. You need to take some time, process this thing out, and just make, hey, I need to talk to you.
Which goes back to my first statement. Every action does not deserve a right now reaction.
Right.
Because sometimes you can do more damage
reacting
than is necessary. It can easily be an easier conversation if we wait. Sometimes when my husband makes me mad, I don't address it right then. I may come back later on that night. We laying in the bed. Baby, you really hurt my feelings when you said it. But at that moment, because my mind, we want to lash out. Oh, I'm going to deal with it now. I'm going to deal with it. No, it's not the time.
Yeah.
Because if the pot is boiling over on the stove, you don't just snatch it off. You got to get the proper stuff to get it off and turn it down. And,
Yeah.
There's a way to handle everything. And sometimes you do more harm
Hey, Dad, look,
by not
love you too.
waiting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, love you.
Because you go into it when I know it's going to be an issue, when I know this could be one of them throw the chair at you, whatever.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying hoping that she's never thrown a chair, but I'm just no, you haven't. But when I know it's that type of conversation,
yeah,
I have to first of all, I have to get myself together. Right. I have to pray.
Yes.
My emotional attacks. I intend to keep the unity of the spirit in my house. Right? So I'm going to treat my wife the same, although I'm mad with her. I'm disappointed. I'm hurt. I'm going to treat her the same like nothing never happened. And I'm going to say, hey, we need to have a talk. Right? And I'm going to bathe it in prayer. I'm going to think it out. And when I go into this conversation, I'm going into this conversation with one thing on my mind. I'm looking for the solution. I'm looking to reconcile. I'm looking to get this speck out of my marriage because this right here could possibly tear my marriage up. So I'm not going to let it fester. I'm not going to sit on it. I'm not going to hit it wrong. I'm going to be strategic and surgical. And I'm going to get in there, dig that thing out, right? Because by having the proper conversation at the appropriate time. And I mean, I'm talking about tough conversations, right? You need to be able to say to your spouse, hey, we're not making love like how we used to. What's going on? Hey, you hadn't told me, hey, we hadn't, I'm noticing that.
I asked my husband the other day if he still loved me because he ain't smacked my butt in a week.
That's not something serious, but I guess it is. You're so crazy. So,
I'm like, are we okay?
We good? Yeah, but you have just serious conversation. Hey, I've noticed that you've been quiet lately and you haven't really said much. Is there something that we need to talk about? And then they come out the bag with, I've been thinking about getting a divorce. What? Right? Yeah. That's a devastating conversation.
Right.
Let's talk about it. Come on, let's reason together. Because what makes you feel like this? Right? You thinking about walking out the door? Wait a minute. Is it that bad? I thought we were good. Right? You got to have the tough conversations. If you don't feel like you have the tools for a tough conversation, that if you have a spiritual leader that's it's sad I have to say this.
Mature and biased and unbiased.
Thank you.
Mature and unbiased.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't go on there regularly.
I'm trying. Nowadays, I think insurance companies have your benefits in your packets have a counseling element in it. Go see the counselor, right? Maybe I have to say this too with preference. Maybe you have an older married couple that is invested in seeing your marriage work.
Right.
Come on, that's biblical principle, right? If you're offended, if there's an issue, you're supposed to go to each other. Yeah. If you can't rationalize it out with each other, then you get someone that's of a good report, somebody that's mature, somebody who, and they become the mediator to help navigate through, right? And so, because the biggest goal is to keep there is nothing in me that wants to stand before a judge and divorce my wife. There's nothing in me that wants my children not to have me in my home. Therefore, my marriage has to work. And it's going to work after the children. Right? Now, I may retire from this old marriage institute, this society. But no. The point...
I'm about to go missing.
The point is you got to want your marriage. Fellas, I'm gonna help you. Bishop Blue says it's a lie. He says he has discovered that if the man wants the marriage will work. But you can't allow your ego, your pride, your insecurities to just let it. No, this is what God gave you. This is your right. This is your help me. This is the completion to all your sentences. Right, and then vice versa. All right. So I think we covered a lot. I don't necessarily see any commentary outside of the jokes that we had here. Any questions, comments before we try to lock this down? What you got? Some last thoughts that you think about the marriage? I desperately want.
Come back and do this again.
Huh?
Maybe next week.
Okay.
I'll come back and do a part 2.
You feel a pull in your spirit.
We're just gonna. It's late.
Oh. So. Oh, I thought you was deep in spirit. So I think for me, you're in your 30s, and I'm in my 20s, and
getting on the other side of 30.
I desperately want to see our generation win when it comes to marriage, and I really want to help dispel what you over there.
I said you coming up the wrong side of the mountain.
No, I ain't coming up no mountain. The Bible tell me to speak in my mountain.
You remember that song?
I'm coming up. I'm coming on up, Sally.
Oh, no Sally.
Oh.
Yeah, we going to bed.
So you messed up my serious clothes here.
There wasn't no Sally in this.
No.
You put Sally in this song.
That's what he say. I'm coming on up, Sally.
He said, I'm coming up, Lord.
Oh. Oh.
Go ahead.
You always the one trying to correct me. But,
Go ahead with your serious clothes.
What was my serious clothes about?
I don't know.
You wasn't listening?
I got stuck on coming up. Rough side of 40.
Oh. All right. Well, I really have a burden and a desire to help our generation. You know what? Quite frankly, I don't even think I'm somebody special enough to do it. But I really believe I pray often and I meditate often and I petition God often about our generation and the family unit. We are jumping in and out of these things, out of marriage like our underwear. We're making babies and swapping things over. I mean, we're doing this thing like it's and we don't realize that the decisions we make today, the actions we make today, it lays the foundation for tomorrow. I'm scared for my daughters to get married. I don't understand how we raising our boys. I don't understand it. I'm scared for our sons to marry our daughters. I don't understand what we're doing with them. I don't. We're just trying to live our lives and we're just trying to figure it out, but we don't understand that it's at the expense of a generation.
That's good.
And I believe in the power of marriage.
Absolutely.
I believe that God was not crazy when he decided to establish marriage. I believe that marriage is not outdated. Marriage is relevant, it's prominent, and it is something that you should, that I'm not saying everybody's supposed to be married. I'm not saying that. But if you desire to be married, then you ought to be able to do it appropriately and enjoy the fruits of marriage. God has a plan for your marriage. He has a plan for the marriage you plan to enter into. But I just really believe we need to have these healthy conversations. And so, once again, me and Pastor Hope don't have, well, I'm not going to say we don't have a perfect marriage. I love my marriage. It ain't always good. It ain't always, something to physically enjoy. However, if I had to get married all over again, I'd still marry Hope Smalls. Now, Chester made Hope Smalls. But it took a Michael McCann.
Okay, all right.
I'm just gonna help the saints.
And as we close,
I will pray for us, Dan. That's right.
I didn't open up in prayer.
Well, you someone you want to leave God out of everything, don't you? That's why you ain't about school to pray. That's why. Just be leaving the Lord out.
Oh God!
All right, if this bless y'all tonight, hit the share button.
This is 12 years, y'all.
Like it. This is us every day.
It is.
Outside of me putting out my house every now and then. No.
Yeah.
All right, we love you guys and have a tremendous night. Be
Good
blessed.
night, y'all.